Hi, welcome back to Jonesy Chats Wrestling. This is my Hell in a Cell review from last night's WWE Hell in a Cell 2020. Just going to go over sort of some of my thoughts of the show and generally what I think may happen next and stuff like that, just the general stuff. Thank you for all recent subscribers, really appreciate that and appreciate the likes recently. Please share and like the video, please spread it, anything you can do to try and help the channel get bigger, I'll be greatly appreciative, but let's start at the beginning then. So WWE Hell in a Cell happened, we had the kickoff show, which was R-Truth versus Drew Gulak. For me, this was a filler match. R-Truth got a win. I hate to see Drew Gulak in such a bad spot considering he's such a talented wrestler. But it does what it needs to do. This 24/7 title is just light-hearted comedy, which is kind of what it needs to do, if that makes sense. We're then going to go on to the main show. So the show started, obviously, with the Universal title, and that was Roman Reigns, Jey Uso in the I Quit Hell in a Cell. Yeah, for me, this was a very good match. It was a very long match. It went on and on and on. It done some good storytelling, a couple of key parts of it that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the whole thing that sort of with the strap. I thought that was really good. I thought it was clever. I think it done what it needed to do. I think they've done a great job of building up this Jey Uso to be a credible contender to Roman Reigns, which I was surprised that. It kind of surprised me how good it was. Clearly, when we got to the finish, we always knew kind of that the other Uso would get involved, if that makes sense. We always knew that Jimmy would kind of get involved in some way or another, if that makes sense. So it was great to see him kind of out there. I wasn't a massive fan of the whole Roman Reigns crying. Roman Reigns meant to be a badass heel, so he shouldn't be crying at all, even with the family emotion. I think it looked really stupid. It didn't really work for me. But obviously your winner here was Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns got the win because Jimmy basically sold out. Jimmy basically sold it like it'd been destroyed, and Jay quit to save Jimmy. This was okay. It done what it needs to do. I really hope we're kind of done now with this whole sort of feud. But I get the feeling we're going to get Jimmy and Jay join Roman. They're going to become some sort of stable, which will be okay, but something different. Once again, another heel stable in WWE, eh? No, never know. But yeah, it was okay. It was pretty intense. There was a lot of sort of atmosphere, which is surprising. It's always weird seeing a world title opening the show. That's really, really odd. A couple of key things. I felt at the end of it, you obviously saw Seeker and Atha at the ramp, basically honouring Roman Reigns. I would love to have seen Roman Reigns basically destroy them. I'd love to see them sort of attack them. I know they're only men, but I'd love to see him do something. He needs to start becoming a badass heel instead of somebody that cries and does all this stuff, really. The question is, where does Roman Reigns go next? I think if he's going to go next, obviously he'll have to face a babyface wrestler of some sort. I think the heel thing's gone. Perhaps they'll do a Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match. Maybe I'd quite like to see that. But obviously going into Survivor Series, it's probably going to be Roman Reigns defending sort of maybe on a stable. Maybe he'll do some sort of stable against somebody else, basically against Raw. But this was an okay match. It done what it needed to do. It was great to see sort of the storyline be further sort of developed, if that makes sense. Really enjoyed this. We then go into sort of sleeper match. Jeff Hardy versus Elias. Horrible match. Didn't really do anything. I was so bored of it. I felt that it was just a pay-per-view match for no reason. Didn't enjoy it. Yeah, really, really poor match. I think it sort of didn't really do anything. Clearly Elias didn't get pinned, which was, I guess it's good to protect him. Jeff didn't get pinned either, which is okay. We then obviously go into the next match, which was the Money in the Bank contract match, Otis versus Miz. This has obviously been building for a while. Thrown together very last minute in terms of what added to the card. This was okay. The finish was interesting. Obviously, we got Tucker basically do a turn, which was interesting. Tucker obviously attack Otis. For me, this was really, really random. Obviously, they haven't got Otis and Tucker on the same brand now, so it makes no sense. They should have done this turn probably a few months ago, so they could have impacted and got followed on with it. I'd love to have seen sort of Mandy Rose be the one that turned on Otis rather than Tucky, but clearly, obviously, neither one of them are on the same brand, so I'm guessing this is going to be something to do with Survivor Series where we'll get this one match and done, basically, but the Miz is your new Money in the Bank winner, which is interesting. It's good to see the Money in the Bank briefcase with somebody that's an ex-world champion. I'm much more of a fan of seeing it with Miz instead of Otis. Otis is a comedy actor. She never won the belt, but when we look back at it, so Money in the Bank obviously was back kind of in... Money in the Bank was kind of back, obviously, earlier in the year. It was back in... When we look at the date, let's look at the dates. So it was back in April. Yet you've had all this time really to get the belt off Otis, or the Money in the briefcase off Otis, and you're not. Look at the people that could have had it. We could have gave it to AJ Styles, Alistair Black, Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio. Any of them would have been much more worthy than Otis, so I'm glad they paid it off. I just wish that WWE had the foresight when they decided Otis to win the briefcase to actually sort of not have give it to him really in the first place. It just seems to be a total waste of time. Hopefully the Miz with this new attitude can do something. I'd be a big fan of the Miz going to NXT. and cash in the briefcase there. I think that would be a good twist. I think it would be something different. Miz needs to get away from John Morrison as soon as possible and go back to that heel that he was years ago when he faced John Cena at WrestleMania. He needs to be that heel everyone hates, really. He needs to be WWE's answer to MJF, in my opinion. I think he could do that here. But it was okay. It done what it needed to do. They obviously did this backstage segment where the Miz and John Morrison were there, and then Tucky's there. But yet you've got Tucky hating Miz and Morrison, which doesn't make sense. These are three heels. Surely they should be sort of teaming. They should all be happy now that Otis has lost. But no, definitely not. It made no sense, really. We'll then go to sort of one of the matches of the night. It was Sasha Banks versus Bayley. For me, this was an excellent match. It did exactly what it needed to do. It told a story. I really loved the whole thing, props and stuff, and I think it was fantastic. I think there was real questions, so you never knew who was going to win this. For me, I like the way with the weapons, loads of weapons used. It was a lovely payoff to Sasha Banks get the win. I hope she has a credible run now. And I think it's done a really good job. I think this was one of the best storylines in WWE, so they've done a fantastic job of paying it off. Sasha Banks, your new world champion, and because Bayley's had the belt for so long, it really was impactful. I think they've done a great job. For me, it'll be interesting to see what they go next. For me, the dream match down the line would have to be Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. I think that would be the one that's the money match, but you've got to save that, really. So I think you can go to Sasha Banks and another one. Maybe they'll do this Sasha Banks versus Asuka versus the NXT Women's Champion. Maybe they'll do that basically versus Io Shirai. If they do that, that'll be a dream match of Survivor Series, that's for sure. We then go backstage. Obviously, we had the Hurt Business there, and there was this big thing about sort of we can challenge anybody in Retribution, and it just got really, really silly. We then have the United States title, Bobby Lashley versus Slapjack. Less said about this match, the better. Absolutely horrible match. Further makes Retribution look like a total shambles following my rant video previously. There's no saving this, guys. These guys got destroyed. To make it worse, Lashley destroyed all of kind of Retribution on his own yet again. There's no payout. Retribution run away like cowards. And I don't know if you noticed this, Retribution have gone from numerous numbers now to just sort of the solid group, if that makes sense. This done nothing really. For me, they should have had sort of, I'm not saying you job Bobby Lashley here, but you should have probably had them get some sort of momentum. They really need a new member, I think, to lift this group. All what I would do, obviously, to try and get this group back is on Raw this week. They need to probably go on a rampage with Survivor Series Hell In. And the one person I think I'd like to see him draft to Retribution or join Retribution is, I'd be a fan of Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's doing currently nothing on the product. I think he'd be a fantastic addition to Retribution. I think he could fit. They need that sort of muscle. They need to get some one up on the Hurt Business. Because at the moment, in all the matches Retribution have had, they've just lost match after match, and this is just the same match again and again, basically. And it's almost like Retribution taking the spot of Cedric Alexander, and Ricochet's tandem, and Apollo Crews. It's almost like taking that spot, but not great really. I thought it was a worst match of the night probably, and really not fun. We then had a commercial for the Survivor Series promoting 30 years of Undertaker. Interested to see what he does. Please see him have a video about that, into what I think he'll do. We then have the main event, which is the world title, Randy Orton versus Drew. This was a fun match. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it told a really good story. I love the way they went on the roof of the cell. That was very sort of nostalgic, a bit like the catch at Triple H. Obviously, Drew coming off the cell, the side was a great bump. It was a holy, and I really like the way that they had the holy S chants as well, which really sold it. And I think this is really good. I think the biggest shock of all is we got Randy Orton as the new world champion. I was totally utterly shocked, really. I felt they should have probably pulled the trigger on Randy Orton winning sooner, but the fact they've done it now, great shock. I didn't see it coming. My prediction now, Drew. But fantastic. I think this is great. Randy Orton's obviously a 14-time world champion now. They've got great room to do that. I think the end game really with that is going to be Randy Orton Edge. I don't know if that'll be soon. I'm guessing they're going to save that. But for me, there's nothing stopping them doing Drew versus Randy or getting the belt back when there's a crowd there. For me, I think the payoff, if I'm looking at a future match, what I'd love to see Drew versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think that could be epic, really. A babyface Drew versus heel Roman Reigns. That feels great to me. Anybody can win that. But great to see Randy Orton win this. I'm interested to see what they do next. I hope it's not going to be another rematch sort of Survivor Series. But Randy Orton got a big win here. I thought this was a really interesting match. I thought it was a fun show. I felt the show did a really good job. It was a good length. The matches were all very long, but it's rather quality than quantity. I really, really enjoyed this. I felt that all the matches that had feuds behind them looked really, really good. So it was really fun. I think it's just going to be interesting to see where they go next. That's been it, really. This has been my review of WWE Hell in a Cell 2020. Please like and share the video. Please give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment if you did enjoy it. And I'll be back soon with some more videos. Thank you for watching Jonesy Chats Wrestling. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.